discussion where we explore the ideas, strategies, stories, and inspiration that truly matter. Thanks to Estayo, the producer of our program. Today our topic is Britt Andreatta's Wired to Become, the Neuroscience of Purpose. Our mission today is to really understand how our brains are fundamentally designed to seek purpose. And maybe more importantly, how grasping this can genuinely benefit you in both your personal and professional life. We'll be drawing on insights from neuroscience, psychology, and organizational science.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, absolutely. What's really fascinating from Andreatta's perspective is this fundamental idea. Our drive for purpose isn't just, some lofty philosophical concept. It's actually built right into our biology. She presents a really compelling case for how our brains develop with this predisposition towards seeking and finding purpose.
Right, so it's not just a nice to have. It's almost like a core program running in the background. And it sounds like when we actually tap into that sense of purpose, our brains kind of reward us for it, don't they?
They absolutely do. The book discusses how having purpose activates those reward pathways, releasing dopamine and serotonin. For those of you wondering, dopamine plays a big role in pleasure and motivation, that feeling of wanting to achieve something, while serotonin is more about regulating mood and overall well-being.
Exactly. And because purpose consistently triggers these systems, people who are actively seeking it might develop stronger habits, be more intrinsically motivated over the long run.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, from an evolutionary standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. A sense of purpose would have likely driven our ancestors to engage in behaviors crucial for survival and, well, the continuation of the species.
Like what kind of behaviors?
Think about cooperation, community building, even caring for the next generation. That internal reward mechanism would have reinforced those purposeful actions.
Okay, right. And here's where it gets really interesting, I thought. The book also delves into the brain's default mode network. Now, that sounds pretty technical, but as I understand it, this network is active when we're not focused on a specific external task, right?
Yeah.
When our minds are wandering.
That's right. But the key thing is, this wandering isn't random at all. It's often when we're processing past experiences, making connections between them, and essentially constructing our sense of self and our place in the world.
Which is deeply intertwined with our sense of purpose.
Exactly. This network isn't just idling, it's actively involved in autobiographical memory, thinking about the future, both absolutely key elements in forming a sense of who we are and what matters to us.
That's a really crucial insight.
Yeah, and furthermore, Andreatta highlights how purpose actually fosters what she calls neural coherence.
Neural coherence.
Think of it as different regions of your brain communicating and working together in a more integrated, more harmonious way when you're acting with purpose. And this enhanced integration isn't just theoretical. Research suggests it correlates with improved problem-solving abilities, a greater capacity for complex thought, meaning a clearer sense of purpose might actually make you more effective in, various aspects of your life.
So it's kind of like the brain's various sections are all tuning into the same frequency, getting on the same page.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And it's not just about feeling good, it actually makes us sharper. Is that right?
Okay.
The book mentions purposeful activities boosting cognitive function and neuroplasticity.
Precisely.
And neuroplasticity, for anyone unfamiliar, that's the brain's amazing ability to adapt and change its structure, its connections, over time.
Exactly. So by living with purpose, we're essentially giving our brains a workout that helps them stay adaptable and strong. And the brain is constantly striving to make sense of the world, isn't it? To identify patterns, create meaning. Purpose directly addresses that fundamental biological drive. It provides that overarching framework that helps us understand why things matter and how we fit into the larger scheme.
And like you said, for someone wanting to be maybe more efficient with their time and energy, having that clear purpose acts as an invaluable compass.
Definitely. It helps you prioritize what truly aligns with your core values and your long-term objectives.
Now, it's not just about what's happening inside our heads, is it? Wired to Become also explores the really powerful connection between purpose and our overall well-being. It sounds like having a sense of purpose isn't just a mental bonus. It has pretty tangible effects on our physical health, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The research is quite compelling here. It demonstrates a strong link between having a sense of purpose and experiencing improved mental and physical health. Individuals who report a clear sense of purpose tend to report lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. And what's fascinating is how purpose cultivates greater resilience. When you feel that what you're doing holds significance, you're just better equipped to bounce back from challenges, to navigate difficult periods.
That makes intuitive sense.
Yeah.
And it gets even more interesting on the physical side, right? The book notes how purpose can actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes, the rest and digest system. The counterpart to our fight or flight stress response.
And apparently this activation can contribute to a reduction in inflammation within the body.
That's what the evidence suggests. And for listeners who might not know, chronic inflammation is implicated in a really wide range of health issues. So that's potentially a pretty significant benefit.
Wow, that is significant.
Indeed. And the benefits seem to extend even further. There's evidence suggesting that individuals with a strong sense of purpose experience slower rates of cognitive decline as they age.
Slower decline.
And, remarkably, they even tend to live longer.
Wow. Okay, so it's really not an overstatement to say that living with purpose is genuinely beneficial for your overall health, both mentally and physically. That's a powerful takeaway. So what are some, practical steps our listeners could take based on this?
Well, a crucial starting point, I think, is to encourage regular reflection on your core personal values, what truly gives your life meaning. And this doesn't have to be some grand, world-changing thing. It can be deeply personal, significant just to you.
Right.
And then on a day-to-day basis, try consciously connecting your activities, even the routine ones, to that larger sense of purpose. Andreatta highlights how this simple shift in perspective can noticeably improve your mood and energy levels.
Yeah, I can see that. If you understand how even a small task contributes to something you deeply care about, it probably feels less like a chore, right? More like a meaningful step forward.
Exactly that. And don't underestimate the power of connecting with others around shared values and goals. These purposeful social connections can create a really supportive cycle that reinforces your sense of well-being.
Makes sense.
Finally, it's just important to remember that even small actions, as long as they align with your purpose, can lead to measurable improvements in your health and overall sense of fulfillment. You don't need to make massive life changes tomorrow to start experiencing these benefits.
Okay, that's encouraging. So we understand our brains are wired for purpose, and we know it's good for our well-being. But how do we actually, go about uncovering our own individual purpose? It's not like it comes with a user manual.
That's a really important question, absolutely. Andreatta proposes that purpose often emerges where your strengths, what you're naturally good at, intersect with your passions, what genuinely excites you. And critically, your sense of contribution, how you feel you're making a positive impact, even in a small way.
Ah, that resonates, that kind of sweet spot where talent, enthusiasm, and making a difference all come together.
Precisely. And it's also vital to remember that purpose isn't some fixed endpoint you reach. It naturally evolves as we progress through different stages of life. What felt profoundly purposeful in your 20s might shift in your 40s or 60s, and that's completely normal, completely okay.
That's a relief, actually.
Yeah, and Andreatta even introduces this really insightful idea of multiple mini purposes.
Right.
You might have a purpose related to your family, another connected to your work, maybe another tied to a hobby or community involvement. These smaller interconnected purposes can weave together to create a really rich and fulfilling life experience.
So it's not all about chasing after one single grand, all-encompassing life purpose. That definitely takes some of the pressure off. So how do we practically start this process of discovery then? Is it all just deep introspection and journaling?
Well, that's certainly a valuable component. Self-reflection, identifying your core values, what truly matters to you, fundamentally, that's a critical first step. But Andreatta emphasizes that purpose discovery is also an active experiential process. It involves trying things out, observing what truly resonates with you, paying attention to those moments when you feel that genuine spark of meaning and engagement. She suggests actively exploring activities that create flow states.
Ah, flow.
Yeah, those times when you're so completely absorbed in what you're doing that you lose all sense of time. Those moments often provide really valuable clues about activities that align with your passions and strengths.
Oh, I definitely know that feeling.
Oh,
when
man.
you're just completely lost in the moment, yeah.
Exactly. Another practical step is to actively assess where your contributions are creating meaningful impact, however small it might seem. Where do you feel like you're making a real difference?
Okay.
And finally, she introduces this really helpful concept of purpose prototyping.
Prototyping, like for inventions.
Kind of. Think of it as experimenting with different potential purpose directions without needing to make a huge life-altering commitment. You might volunteer for a cause you're curious about, take a class in a new area that intrigues you, or just try consciously incorporating a new value into your daily actions and see how it feels.
That's a fantastic idea, a sort of low-pressure way to explore what might truly resonate. Now, shifting gears slightly, the book also touches on how this whole idea of purpose extends beyond just the individual. How does it play out in our careers, in leadership, and even in organizations?
Right, that's a crucial next step in understanding the full impact. In terms of career development, a strong sense of purpose can significantly boost productivity and, importantly, job satisfaction. When individuals understand how their work contributes to something larger than themselves, they tend to be much more engaged and motivated.
Makes sense.
Plus, you can often cultivate a sense of purpose in almost any role by identifying how it connects to broader organizational goals or serves a meaningful need for others.
Yeah, finding the meaning even in the day-to-day.
Exactly. And this also becomes particularly important when navigating career transitions. A clear sense of your underlying purpose can provide a really valuable compass when you're considering new opportunities.
Good point. What about in leadership roles? How does purpose factor in there?
Well, in leadership, purpose becomes a really powerful tool for inspiring and engaging teams. Leaders who can clearly articulate the why behind their organization's goals and connect individual contributions to that larger meaning are much more likely to foster a motivated and aligned workforce.
So moving beyond just hitting targets.
Exactly. Moving beyond just targets and profits to a shared understanding of why the work actually matters.
And on an organizational level, does having that clear purpose provide, tangible benefits beyond just morale?
Oh, absolutely. Research suggests organizations with a well-defined and genuinely communicated purpose often outperform their competitors. This goes beyond simply making a profit. It's about having a clear reason for existing that resonates with employees, customers, and stakeholders alike. When an organization's purpose is authentic and really permeates all levels of operation, it can lead to greater innovation, stronger customer loyalty, and a more resilient and adaptable organization overall.
Especially during times of change, I imagine.
Precisely. That purpose provides stability and aids adaptability when things get turbulent. It also touches on generational differences in expressing purpose and the value of sharing that across generations. And even connects purpose to innovation, creating sustainable solutions, ethical considerations.
It sounds like having that underlying why provides a real anchor. Now, the book also briefly mentions that purpose can be measured. How does that actually work?
Yes, while purpose itself can feel somewhat intangible, its impact can often be measured through various metrics. Organizations might look at things like employee engagement scores, retention rates, customer loyalty, overall performance indicators, things that suggest how well their purpose is resonating.
So quantitative stuff.
Quantitative, yes, but it's also important to use qualitative methods, gathering employee feedback, stories that illustrate the impact of the organization's purpose in action. You really need both the numbers and the narratives to get a full picture.
Got it. It also briefly touches on a potential dark side, doesn't it? Misalignment, burnout.
It does, and that's an important caution. Purpose can be misused. Think of misaligned goals leading people astray, or intense purpose leading to burnout, if not balanced. Sometimes purpose can even be imposed unethically, so there's a real need for ethical evaluation and balance.
Okay, that's a critical point. So looking ahead then, thinking about the future, how might this understanding of purpose shape things?
Well, the book suggests that aligning purpose at the individual, organizational, and even societal levels could create more sustainable systems. Future challenges might really require a more collective purpose orientation.
So purpose literacy becomes a key skill.
Exactly. A key leadership skill, certainly. And integrating purpose meaningfully into technological advancements will be crucial too, maybe even creating purpose ecosystems that connect individual and collective meaning.
Fascinating. So the big takeaway really seems to be that our brains are indeed wired to become purposeful, as Andreatta puts it.
That's the core message, yes.
And understanding this offers really significant benefits for our well-being, our performance, and even the broader organizations and world we're a part of.
Absolutely. By understanding this inherent drive, you can consciously cultivate it in your own life and recognize its powerful influence all around you. We definitely recommend checking out Britt Andreatta's book, Wired to Become, for a much deeper exploration.
Some really valuable insights there, something for everyone to reflect on, I think. How might you apply some of this to your own life? Thanks for listening. Grab Estayo's latest book on Amazon. Need business consulting, artificial intelligence, book writing, and publishing. Ish has your back. Contact Estayo or leave a comment. Until next time, keep diving deep.